Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Digital Experience Team release video. We'll go over what we released this iteration. Today is September 9th. And first up is Nathan.
Yeah, so start off, I added some grid components to slippers. So I added a container that pretty much just has like dynamic width, the row and columns, and then columns are similar to like Bootstrap or Material UI or a bunch of those grid systems that use Flexbox. So you can pass in kind of like how many columns you want, and if you want responsive and what breakpoints and all that fun stuff. So I did that, and then I made some changes to the button component. I just added some props and then some styling changes, some hover state changes, just stuff to match Figma. And then I created kind of a variables in base CSS, which they're being used in the core marketing site, and eventually will be used in Slippers V1. So those are kind of built out and they're based off Figma as well. So all the spacing and the font sizes and everything are in there. And then for core marketing site, I finally finished the enterprise page. You can go check it out on the review app. The nav is still, I'm still trying to fix it, some mobile stuff, but yeah, this is the page ported over, and this is using Nuxt and Vue. So they're all Vue components. The buttons are Vue components. I think the next one, there's a free trial CTA. So if you notice on this page, there's two free trial kind of banners or CTAs, and they're different. So I created a common free trial CTA component, and then you pass in which variation of it you want. So then you can just call which variation, and then in one line you have the CTA. And then I also migrated the main nav over. It's acting a little funky. I think I missed some styling, so I'm just going to fix it up right after this meeting. But overall, it looks pretty much pixel to pixel the same as on the main site. What else? Pricing page stuff. There's just some content changes, mostly just the feature listing. So for the list of features. So those get kind of changed every week. So just constantly updating those. And then like everybody else, the 360 reviews that I think are due tomorrow. So if you haven't done them yet, you have a day. But yeah, that's it for me. Laura.
Yeah, I did a couple of little bug fixes. One of them is has been hanging around for a while, but in the footer on blog posts. So if you go way down to the bottom, the little Twitter icon in the footer, in the purple footer, lower. Yeah. Yeah, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, warmer. Those were the same purple background. And so they just weren't showing up for a while. So moved those back to being white like the rest of the footer. And I fixed a small issue with the handbook, failing tests or failing build because there was an ampersand in one of the handbook pages that someone had recently added. And I was the first one to trigger that test a couple of days later. I was really banging my head against this one, and I called in backup, and Tyler was able to point me in the direction of why I caught this build and no one else. So thank you for Tyler. We fixed that up. Yeah, there was a little bug yesterday where the upcoming releases page was missing some styling, so I fixed those up. I also did some administrative stuff. The 360 reviews I spent all Friday last week doing. It really did take some time. And then Jess and I continued the enterprise buyer interviews that we've been doing for the enterprise page rebuild. And I worked on a slippers component list that is still work in progress, but has a series of components and their variations and properties that get passed to them. So that's close to being completed. I added logos above the fold on the home page. So this is live now. Yeah, you'll see those guys there. And homepage brag wall section, I have this in the review app, which we can show. We're just waiting on some new replaced badges for the fall. Let's scroll a little lower and you'll see the skinny guy here. So each of these badges, you can hover over them and it'll link to like whatever that required brag is, or whatever brag. So yeah, we'll replace some of those badges and that'll be released whenever those badges are available. And I did a little bit more work and more testing on the OneTrust implementation. There's not much just to see here, but that'll hopefully be released next week. And that's it for me. And next is Barker.
Okay. So first up, reviewed MRs from partners. One came in this morning, super cool. Our secret detection job went from 15 minutes to 2. because we're not downloading the artifacts from the public folder. So that's merged. Be cleaning that up. Will be some more, but that was a really cool one. And then some SEO ones from Hannah for fixing our internal links, remove and depreciate the DevSecOps campaign throughout the site, and then fixed a couple of broken layouts. 360 reviews, got that all finished. And then onboard it to the core marketing site repository. So I'm all booted up there, ready to go. I didn't get an MR in, but I'm ready to go. The big thing I got going this iteration was the customer web revamp pages. So I got 2 MRs in, 6 pages are migrated over to it. So that's the new template. It's in the CMS. And then, so we'll go and look at the Goldman Sachs right here. It's beautiful. Jess has done a great job helping me tighten that template up and get it migrated over. And then I've started the migration of 8 additional ones. So I'll really finish that up today, and then it'll go through the review process. I also migrated the open source solution page over to the new template. And that was using what we had. And I took that opportunity to do the second iteration on the template and kind of tighten things up. And I also started an MR to migrate the child open source page, which is join. So I have an MR started. I fixed the small font sizes on a few pages that were caused by conflicting CSS. It was kind of just a manual thing, had to go through and hard set them. I fixed the overlapping 404 landing page links. So if you make that small, cool, now you can all see them. Before then, they're just kind of all stacked on top of each other, which is not a very good experience when you're already landing on the 404 page. So that was cool. And then MRN to hide the unfiltered blog category and add a new blog category for the DevOps platform. And that is going to get deployed today. So if you can see in the side there, categories at the bottom, we got DevOps platform. Boom. If you click on it, we got some DevOps platform posts in there. So super cool. And we've got Jess, who I believe is not here.
I'll read off for her. So Jess worked on some update on the FAQ section on the pricing page, if you want to show that link. I reviewed her issue, and I think that the request was to reveal all the FAQ questions so that users have less clicking to do. She also added a show all and hide all option. Next on her list is to include the storage and CI minutes block to the pricing options in the pricing page. So if you want to click on that Figma link, I know where that one is. So it's the block with the gray band behind it right underneath the pricing tiers right there. So she released those 2 items in the sprint. And next is me. I continued to make some progress on our data-driven content block OKR for the homepage. I created a couple MVC1 iterations of design, still totally under review. The homepage is getting a lot of additions, so we're kind of looking at where we want to put this and the effects of the user experience top to bottom, and how we want to keep working with the brag wall and all of the things that we're adding to the homepage. So there are no final designs yet, but that's what is going on in my head and in the rest of the UX team's head. We're also closer to defining our audience segments for said content blocks. It's been a bit slow moving, but I'm hoping to ramp that up next iteration. And lastly, I'm continuing to work on the homepage brag wall, which I just mentioned, and as shown by Laura, so we don't need to show it again, just working out against some UX issues and positioning on the homepage. That's it for me. And next is Javi.
Hi, everybody. This week, I worked on my onboarding. I picked out health insurance as of yesterday, which is for my Americans out there, yeah, that's a pain in the butt. So don't like took like 4 hours of me like researching like what actually makes the most sense. Anyway, I did like a 360 review attempt. I had reached out to I forgot the name of the team, but like HR people about like trying to get access to this because I was onboarded like kind of like as those were coming out to see if I could get access to those. They did not want to grant me access. And so then I just like sent you all like little messages, my attempt of trying to do that, or like kind of reaffirm / give feedback for things that like I've watched out for. I think I did it for everybody. And if I missed someone, I'm sorry, I could do that for you. I have an MR for the Ducks OKR where we have like this little call out that we've been working on. And here's an MR that was like collaborated between me and some people on the Ducks team. I tried to figure out how to get like when essentially a Marketo form is loaded so that like when an input field is like focused in, that like it would send an event to Google Analytics so that we would know like what percentage of users are starting forms and then like not finishing them. Tried to do an MR and it didn't work. So I'm going to try to use something that's not a Marketo lifecycle hook. Instead is a custom event handler that will just essentially, when something is focused, will fire an event and we'll see if that will work. And then I had like a little kind of side point for like little nav iteration things that like people wanted. And so then I just sent them out and yeah, that's it.
Sweet. Thank you so much. And we will see you all next time.